Motorcycle maintenance is something that many riders take for granted. A motorcycle requires some extra responsibilities on the part of the rider, and regular maintenance and inspection is one of those areas. This week on MCrider, we'll hear the story of one MCrider subscriber and how a maintenance issue caused a crash for him. We'll talk about some tips to look for on your own motorcycle, and I'll give you a free checklist that you can download and print to help you do a safety inspection on your own motorcycle. I'll be the first to admit I'm not a mechanic. If I'm not too busy, I'll change the oil on my motorcycles. I do some regular maintenance and I'll do some bolt-on additions to the motorcycle. But if it gets beyond that too much, I'm looking for an expert to take over from there. But if you're like me and you have no desire to be a real mechanic, it's not an excuse to ride a poorly maintained motorcycle. It's one of those things that simply have to be done. In a car, if you have a mechanical issue, the most likely risk is getting stuck on the side of the road. On a motorcycle, a mechanical issue may very well put you in the ditch. So let's listen to the story of one MCrider supporter, Matthew, who let a maintenance issue slide for a little while, and it cost him a little more than just the purchase of a new oil filter.
Hello Kevin, my name's Matthew Chandler. I wrote to you in an email a couple weeks ago now about my very first accident ever. And wanted to share with your viewers, and you asked me to give you a short video on some of the details. Basically, I'm pretty new to riding, been doing it for about 2 years, but I still consider myself a novice to it. Never been a big motorcycle mechanic. I've always just sort of dealt with big trucks. And so when I had my very first oil leak ever, I was coming from the oil filter, and I was on my way to work, and I didn't want to be late, and I didn't think much of it other than I was worried about the engine running out of oil or seizing up or something like that. So I took it real easy on the way to work. Made it home from work and decided I was going to go out get my oil filter, and again didn't think about the oil coming out of the engine and where it was going, but was making a right-hand turn at a stoplight, and the rear tire let go, flew out from underneath me. Bike spun around in place. I was thrown on my back, hit my head on my helmet, and staring up into the sky for a second. Luckily there were no cars around, and nobody was coming, so I was okay. Scraped up knee and battered ego, but that was about it. Picked myself up, put myself back together, got the bike back home, used the wife's truck later that night, got a filter, changed the filter, and no more oil leak. But I guess you're going to expand on the lesson a little bit with the rear tire and oil leaks, and hopefully this can be a lesson for some of those other people who, like me, might have been thinking about or worried about the wrong thing there. So I appreciate you letting me give you a video here, and keep doing what you're doing, Kevin. Thank you very much.
So I'm sure a lot of you out there watching this video are like Matthew. You've let maintenance issues slide from time to time. And I imagine some of you are going to go out and get on the ground right after this video and take a closer look at your bike. But I want to thank Matthew for sharing this video, and hopefully other riders will learn from what he had to experience. The MSF has an inspection checklist that they call T-CLOCS. It stands for tires, controls, lights, oil, chassis, and stands. Now this list gives you some guides to help you visually inspect your motorcycle, and some things to look for before you go out for a ride. I won't go into a detailed explanation of all the things included in T-CLOCS in this video, but I will give you a checklist that you can download free of charge to help you do a safety inspection of your own motorcycle. Just sign up for the weekly MCrider newsletter, and I'll send you a link to the download of the pre-ride checklist. You can sign up for the newsletter at mcrider.com/email, and I'll respond with that email that contains a link to get the pre-ride checklist. If you're currently a newsletter subscriber, the link to the download of the checklist will be in this week's newsletter, and it will probably be in every newsletter from here on out. So just look for it in your coming newsletter that will come out about 2 hours after this video goes live. So you can download the checklist and save it to your phone. I've got it right here on my phone, and it runs you through T-CLOCS, the things to look for, reminders of things that you want to check, and it tells you specifically what to check for when you're running through this list. If you print this out, it's got a column over here where you can actually check off as you're going through the things and know that you've gotten a good safety inspection on your motorcycle. If you want further information on how to perform the T-CLOCS inspection, go to mcrider.com/T-CLOCS and I'll forward you to a great video that the South Dakota Highway Safety Department produced that walks you through the process in detail so you can actually see somebody performing a T-CLOCS inspection. But if just looking at this pre-ride checklist makes your head spin, it may be time to find someone you can trust or hire a mechanic to help you look at your motorcycle. When you do that, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask if you can watch while they inspect the motorcycle, and ask questions along the way, because doing a pre-ride inspection is not difficult, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's important enough to find someone who does and then learn from them. When keeping track of the riding condition of your motorcycle, pay particular attention to the tires and the tire pressure. Having tires in good shape and at proper pressure is critically important to riding safely. With winter approaching, it's a good time to do some maintenance on your motorcycle and make sure that it's ready for the spring. Two key points here for motorcycle winter storage. If your motorcycle will be sitting for a while, you'll want to add some fuel stabilizer to the tank, and you want to keep the battery in good shape through the winter. If you don't have any fuel stabilizer or a trickle charger, so I've got one right here, I lost one on the move, so I had to order another one. If you don't have a trickle charger or some fuel stabilizer, I'll have some links to that in the description so that you can purchase these. It's not very expensive and it's not very hard to do, but it's really important to keep your motorcycle in good shape through the winter and make sure it's ready for you in the spring when you're ready to go riding again. I hope this was helpful for you. Make sure and sign up for the weekly newsletter and download that pre-ride checklist. Keep it on your phone, keep it next to your motorcycle, and it'll make sure that you don't miss anything when you inspect your motorcycle. So till next week, guys, this is Ken with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road. There are multiple ways to support the channel. You can become a member on YouTube at mcrider.com/member, or support the channel through Patreon at mcrider.com/support. Either way, you'll get full access to the forum and the field guides, which will further the training that we release here on a weekly basis.